Hi, I'm Andrea Adelson. I'm the editor of the Laguna Beach Independent. I'm here with Jan Vickers. She is running for re-election to the school board. We're here to ask her why. Jan, so you've been on the board since, you told me, I heard last night, since 2000. So why are you wanting to devote more time to it still? What haven't you accomplished?
Well, I'm passionate about public education and also serving on the school board. Since 2000 is my current consecutive years. I also was on the board 10 years prior to that. I first ran in 1981 and after Aliso School closed. So I became both my parents were teachers. I have a brother that's now a retired teacher and coach. It's in the family. It's just being involved in education, and this is the way that was a choice for me to be of service to public education and all the students in the district. So I just feel very strongly that I still have more to contribute. I also feel that my experience, my understanding of the past of the district, the different ups and downs, that can contribute to a good functioning district.
On the November ballot is an initiative from the governor, Prop 30. It would impact our schools. The estimate is there'd be as much as $1.3 million in impact in the first year, and it would be continuing. So if Proposition 30 fails, do you agree with the administration's strategy to take small cuts everywhere? Is that the appropriate way to handle this?
The appropriate way to handle it is to have, of course, a lot more discussion and planning if we reach that point. What's happened so far is preliminary. What's happened is that we have an awareness that if this doesn't pass, we will be facing significant reduction in dollars. And then we will put into place our further planning, which means really bringing all the participants together and deciding where we can reduce expenditures that will impact the classroom the least. I have experienced times in the past when, with the ups and downs of finances, where we have had to make cuts in the district, and it's extremely difficult to decide. And the focus every time has always been the furthest away from the classroom and the student. And it's not easy, but I believe that our method of doing it, where everyone is involved, you get the best thinking when you put everyone together and think what will allow us to provide the top quality education and still reduce our dollars.
As part of the discussion, there was a forum by the faculty interviewing the candidates, both the incumbents and the challengers. Was Prop 30 one of the issues that they brought up? I mean, it would become a negotiated issue?
If it was salary reduction, it would be a negotiated issue. There would be other reductions that would not be negotiated reductions if we found other ways to cut costs, because we have. If you look at our budget, the breakdown is significant in salaries and benefits for the salaries. It totals currently 80.5% of the budget. So there are other operating costs that come into play, and things can be deferred. We have deferred any textbook adoptions right now. We get some money for that, but that money's reduced, and so there are things like that are not negotiated. Yes. That came up at the teacher forum, but actually it didn't come up referencing Proposition 30, since there are two propositions that affect education funding. What it was is, what would you cut? Basically, what would you cut? And for me, the same answer was that we would then get together, get all the parties that are involved, which means administration and the teaching staff and the classified staff, and figure it out together. As I mentioned at the forum last night, we do have the basic aid 2/3 reserve, which is a substantial reserve that allows us to keep everything we have in place for a year while we plan. So we would not be forced into immediate cuts.
Jan shared with me a little bit about her own family and taking in foster children. Jan, how has that affected your attitude about and being on the school board? What are you a more empathetic school board member as a consequence of taking in foster children and seeing those differences in learning styles? That's what you told me about.
Yes. I would say that it's really broadened my knowledge base And it has, I would say, increased my empathy. I find that I seem to get more empathetic for a variety of reasons. And maybe that's just years of experience of life and seeing that, how much merit things have that maybe you didn't recognize before. But with the children specifically, what it allowed me to see, since I had, my oldest child was one of those that things seemed to come easily to him. And I'm talking about crawling, walking from that level, talking, the verbalization, where my youngest child was actually, we had to get some language intervention for him at 14 months. That was a world that I had not experienced yet. And then I became so enthralled with the fact that interventions just work wonderful, magical things, that it really does. The children have this potential in there that you have to work harder to unlock. Because they have roadblocks, they have obstacles that are not their own doing. And so that's particularly what I learned, not just from my own child, but from the other foster children and dealing with other foster parents and support groups, is that these children don't get the same start in life. And I never knew that existed. I didn't know how difficult it was for some children to just basically survive. And if you start out your life and you don't even have good nutrition, and you don't have a consistent, loving caregiver, that it impacts that child right down the line.
Sure.
So that made me realize that when we have children, and I'm certainly not implicating that our children who struggle didn't get a great start, because I know that also from the groups I was in intervention programs, that there are parents who vigilant through their whole pregnancy of everything they ate, everything they came in contact with, and the child has an issue, a birth defect or something that's not right, and so it's so painful. But that when we see that in school, and we have found that's one subgroup recently in the last 2 years, our special ed students have had a big leap on the standardized tests. And that, of course, is one measurement. But that's because we have focused on providing those more intense interventions. And that pyramid, you've been at our meetings and seen those pyramids where that top group of students that need more on the academic side or the behavior side. But we've really reached out to say, what can we do to, as I said, unlock that potential? And it's startling. So yes, it has really affected me. And I did so much reading and so much research to learn about the various things that just that knowledge base
makes a difference.
Makes a big difference for me, and it made me realize that I need to definitely always be advocating for all of our students.
Well, we wish you luck in your campaign.
Oh, thank you.